just going to use this hat to depict Google Translate. So, I'm not in Google Translate right now. The time flies, that whole thing, if you know what that is, and if you don't, it will be explained by not Google Translate. So, here it is. On the other hand, one of the first computer-based sentence parsing systems developed by Susumu Kuno of Harvard had difficulty with the simple sentence, "Time flies like an arrow," or Google Translate. On the other hand, there is a common bubble problem that states "time passes like an arrow" in one of the specifically designed core detection systems. In what has become a famous response, the computer indicated that it was not quite sure what it meant. It might mean... He said he did not know what the computer meant when the computer received a popular response. It could be, 1, that time passes as quickly as an arrow passes. 1. The bow as time goes on. 2. Or maybe it is a command telling us to time the flies the same way that an arrow times flies. That is, time flies like an arrow would. 2. Or a clear sequence of readings when the arrow is in the school. Or, time flies like an arrow. 3. Or it could be a command telling us to time only those flies that are similar to arrows. That is, time flies that are like an arrow. 3. Or we can say that we fly only with arrows. Time passes like an arrow. 4. Or perhaps it means that a type of flies known as time flies have a fondness for arrows. Time flies that is, cherish, an arrow. Or a well-known beehive known as the time chain means the need for arrows flies times, like arrows. Clearly, we need some knowledge here to resolve this ambiguity. We need information about this ambiguity. Armed with the knowledge that flies are not similar to arrows, we can knock out the third interpretation. Flying as an arbitrary health can basically draw a third explanation. Knowing that there is no such thing as a time fly dispatches the fourth explanation. Flight, time, the Lord, does not send a fourth explanation about something. Such tidbits of knowledge as the fact that flies do not show a fondness for arrows, another reason to knock out interpretation 4, and that arrows do not have the ability to time events, knocking out interpretation 2, leave us with the first interpretation as the only sensible one. Seeing free birth stories is like seeing an unloving lord like the arrows of a fly, forth in Trome for another logical reason. And no arrows. He has a sound mind. Perfect.